Ashridge, Episode 5, Words and Powers.
Oh, I'm going to be late again.
I'm not.
That's not helpful, Steve. Oh, dear, my first patient is at 8:30.
Listen, I can take Aaron to Stepping Stones, if you like. I'll walk him down from the shop if you just want to drop us both. Doesn't matter if I'm a bit late in opening up.
No. That's sweet of you, but Stepping Stones is just over the road from the surgery. Once they get to work, I can take him right over. I wish he was a bit more settled there.
Some kids don't settle at nursery. And Aaron's young for his age.
Young for his age? Do you think so? Oh, God, I thought he was normal. I mean, he's hit his milestones.
He's not normal, Em. Try not to worry so much about him. He'll find his own level.
Oh, I hope so. Are you all right, baby?
Bloody hell, Em, watch the road! You nearly hit that car!
Don't swear, Steve. Sorry, I'm just ratty. Lack of sleep. Aaron was talking about the Rabbit Man again this morning. It's like it's become his imaginary friend.
I heard him muttering about the Rabbit Man over his Cocoa Pops.
I shouldn't give him Cocoa Pops. It's just easier and faster, and he eats them and he won't eat more healthy things.
I'm not blaming you. Raw carrots and cucumbers were never my thing either. Listen, it's hard being a working mum. And don't worry about the Rabbit Man. Lots of kids have imaginary friends, and talking animals are a staple of children's stories.
He was saying something about the Rabbit Man remembering him.
The Rabbit Man remembers him? Well, that could be good, couldn't it? Sounds friendly.
I suppose. Don't really know what it means. I'll stop here and let you out.
Aren't you going to give me a kiss?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, love. There. But I've got to rush. I think Mary Goodfellow is my first patient.
Oh dear. I don't envy you having to see Mad Mary.
You can't call her that, Steve.
Even if you didn't say it, it would still be true. Morning.
Morning, bud. How you doing on this fine autumn morning?
Should be selling records, but nobody's much interested in buying them. I find my customers are not early risers, so I wondered if you'd have a kettle boiling and might be prepared to make me a cup of coffee.
Can do. Nescafe only, though, as usual.
As usual, I will drink it.
I bet you have better stuff up at Rosewain Farm.
Yep, Sumatran I like. Emily prefers Costa Rican.
Get you. How is the lovely Emily? Dr. Collins, I should say.
Em's told you 1,000,000 times to call her Emily, not Dr. Collins. Get your serf's hat off and enter the modern world.
Can't help it. Deference is built into me. Dunno how you ended up with a posh bird, though. I mean, when I knew you, you were sleeping on a mattress on the floor, and all you had in the fridge was a potato and a bottle of vodka.
Ah, those were the days. I was really lucky. Did I ever tell you how I got to know her?
Yes.
She came in looking for some Schoenberg for her dad's birthday. He's a master of some college in Cambridge.
Yeah, you told me.
A good story bears telling twice.
All 14 times. Talking of stories, you've never bought a book off me, you know, Steve. Do you even read books?
I read that Lemmy autobiography once and Hammer of the Gods about Led Zeppelin.
You didn't buy 'em here.
No, I got them at the Age Concern shop in Nudbury. Anyway, you never buy records off me.
I bought that Prefab Sprout album off you last Christmas.
Hey, I got a good load of Black Sabbath and Fields of the Nephilim records off Paul Smith the other day. Fancy any of them?
Nope. Paul from down the council houses. The Radio Ham lad.
Yeah. He sold me the vinyl because he's a bit short and said he needed the money to buy a new aerial.
His house looks like Jodrell Bank. What does he even listen to on that thing?
He was telling me he listens to signals coming from the bunkers.
Really? I never knew they were real, the bunkers.
Oh, yeah, they are. I went down that entrance from Market Street car park once, but I didn't get far. It was really claustrophobic.
But they're derelict, right? So who's broadcasting from the bunkers?
Paul Smith says there's secret signals coming out of them. From deep down, he said. But he wouldn't elaborate. I didn't press him on the grounds that I suspect he's insane, and if I confirm that, I'll have to get mental health involved and stuff, and I don't want the responsibility.
You're joking, right? About mental health?
Yes, it's my famous sense of humour. You should try to get one. They make life easier.
Shut up, you Dave.
Anyway, is Mel all right?
Yeah, she's at work today. You know, we should have a joint date night. You and me and Em and Mel.
A date night? I'm not from California, mate. What are you talking about?
I don't think they just have them in California. But given they're post-1970s, I suppose it makes sense you've never heard of them. Seriously though, we could go to the Apple Tree for one of Henry's curry nights.
It's getting Emily to leave Aaron. She's really wary about leaving him with a babysitter. He's got this thing about the rabbit man at the moment. It's like his imaginary friend.
He'll have just heard about him at nursery. The rabbit man's one of them shinners the locals talk about and then go all quiet.
Yeah, it's just imagination. It's all harmless.
Good morning, gentlemen. Andrew, Stephen.
Morning, Alister.
Morning, Alister.
I hope the day finds you well. I thought there was a touch of melancholy this morning. The river Swallow, wreathed in mist. The trees on the downs turning red, yellow and gold as the year dies.
I've wasted enough of your time, Andy. I'll be off. Bye, Alister. Oh, that coffee's red hot.
Remember to ask Em about the curry night. Not at school this morning, Alister?
No, I'm not teaching for 2 periods. And I need to prepare mentally for the start of my creative writing masterclass, which starts this evening. When one creates, one needs time to meditate. You will know that, of course. You write yourself, I presume.
Just shopping lists. Anyway, how can I help?
I am looking for a couple of books.
Plenty of 'em here.
Rare books. Specialist books.
Well, I can order 'em. What are they?
I have the titles written down here. Ars Notoria, the Sworn Book of Honorius, the Theurgia Goetia. I'm not looking for the originals. That would be far beyond the purse of a scribbler and scholar such as myself. There are, I believe, translations of all of these. Second hand would suit. The first by MacGregor Mathers, the others by Eliphas Levi. I read French, so if your good offices stretch so far as to obtain those for me, I would be forever in your debt, young Andy.
I'll have a look in my catalogues. I'm not familiar with them. Are they books on magic?
Ah, magic, yes. But let us be clear. Renaissance magic was a high art. Not stage conjuring, nor even the satanic practice the small minds of small people accuse it of being. It is philosophy, but philosophy hidden due to the inability of the common folk, or indeed the clergy, to comprehend its majesty. And that is its only crime, an art too great for the lowly to understand.
So, do you want all these books then?
I do. By the way, what did you think of our inaugural meeting of the Mummers play?
Interesting. I enjoyed the banter.
Yes, indeed. Banter. Whatever that means. By the way, I have you in mind for the starring role.
Really? Which one?
No less than St. George himself, the bold defender of right and light, who must battle against the fiendish Turkish knight and win.
I hope I get some good lines.
But of course, I shall ensure that. I shall pen my finest words for you to speak, young man. I find you inspirational. But ta-ta for now. I must return to the high school to mould the minds of the young generation of this benighted backwater, for I fear that without me to steer them, they will end up the same rudderless oafs as their rural forefathers, that even now moulder in the graveyard at St. Michael's. Bye-bye, and don't forget the books.
I'll order 'em now.
Well, welcome, all, to our inaugural session of creative writing for beginners. I am gratified to see all three of you here on this chilly autumn evening. I am not disappointed in the turnout. I anticipated a small crowd, as this is, after all, Ashridge. Let us begin. I am obliged by the school to have a register, so we can begin by you all giving me your names, and I shall inscribe them therein. From left to right, please.
Paul Smith.
Felicitations, Paul. Could you tell me something of yourself and what brings you to consider creative writing?
Like what?
Well, just something about yourself, and what brings you to consider creative writing.
Well, I'm, from Ashridge. I was born here. I live in the count's houses. I work for her husband, and in my spare time I'm into amateur radio.
But what brings you here to my class?
Well, you.
I beg your pardon?
I heard about you. Folk was talking about you. I wanted to know what you were like.
So you're not here to learn to write, but to learn about me, to measure my force of personality, my élan vital, as it were.
Whatever about that, I don't know what that is. Just they were talking about you on the radio and I was curious. But anyway, if it's about stories, I like science fiction.
Very good. Thank you, Paul. Now, Madame, or is it Miss?
I'm Sarah Wright. I live in Ashridge and I was just bored. I thought I'd come to a night class. I used to get good marks for my stories in English at this school here, before you came.
Mrs. Wright, wife of Richard Wright, the garage owner, of course. You run the florist, too. I bought some flowers to send to my dear mother from you before she passed away. I thought I recognised you. In fact, were you at the Mummers' Play meeting the other evening?
I was, and I'm sorry about my husband. I told him off for interrupting, but he doesn't listen to me.
No matter, dear lady. I suspect he listens to no one but himself, the only way he can be sure of a sympathetic ear. In any case, it's delightful to have you here, and I would be honoured to fan the flame of your inherent talent. Now the lady to your right.
I'm Susan Devant. I'm the landlady at the Admiral Benbow. I think you know me.
Yes, of course. I have spent many a happy evening with a glass of your wine, looking at the canal and the hills beyond it. I must say that Ashridge looks très joli from tables outside the Admiral Benbow. And have you a favourite genre?
I like horror. I think I could write it well after some of the scenes I've seen in my pub.
Ah, horror. You're thinking of M.R. James, Henry James, Edith Wharton, no doubt.
No, I don't know who they are. I'm more into horror movies and books like Reanimator, Braindead, Friday the 13th, and that stuff.
Oh, dear. However, there may be hope for you yet. Supernatural, or better yet, speculative fiction can be a unique window into the world where the mythic speaks. I hope to encourage you in that, Mrs. Devant, to steer you away from the other, rather unsavoury stuff.
Thank you. It's Miss Devant, though. I've never found a man good enough for me.
Very good. Thank you, all of you. Well then, let us start. I think, just to get the feel of things, I shall give you 10 minutes free writing. Think of an image, a feeling, and let that be your inspiration. Give your mind free rein. I will circulate among you, so don't mind me looking over your shoulders. I have my pocket watch here, so we have 10 minutes starting from now. A strong opening, very strong indeed, Miss Devant. I see you have started with some powerful, though lurid, imagery. In medias res, with the murder. Is it murder?
It's more of butchering. The butcher, they call him. He's demonic.
Very good. Very good. Well, good of its kind, at least. Oh, yes. Now, this is rather good, Sarah. What an arresting opening paragraph. Very pastoral, but effective. Some might think it cliché, but no, it has a gentle touch. Very good. I can see why you got top marks as a young girl.
Oh, thank you. It's nothing. I just wrote what came into my head.
I think you must have a gentle soul, Sarah. It shows. Now, Paul, I think I asked you to write some prose, but it looks like you've sketched out a story.
Oh, yeah, well, it's a story I would write. It's about the Shinners. Yeah. They're down there, and they're asleep. And then some bloody fool comes, wakes them up. And you don't want to wake the Shinners up. You ought to keep them asleep, because when they wake up, they start remembering things. And people. And when they remember you, they call you back to be with them, down there, in the bunkers, below the ground.
Is this a horror story, Paul?
Yeah, if you like. It's about this guy, an ordinary bloke from the council houses. He's the hero.
Like you. Indeed, we writers often use ourselves as inspiration.
Hey, he's a bit like me, yeah. But this bloke, the one from the council houses, he's not as stupid as he looks, and he listens. That's the problem with a lot of folk. They don't listen what's going on. They don't notice that they're doing something stupid. That's the story, you see? It's about a stupid man. Let's say he's a teacher. Maybe like you, actually. Yeah, like you. And he's a bit full of himself, pompous like. And because of that, he don't listen. He don't notice what he's doing, that he's waking things up. And another bloke, someone really ordinary, the bloke from the council houses, tries to warn this puffed up bloke before it's too late. Question is, will this teacher listen? Or does he think he knows best?
A very interesting story, Paul. But what if this teacher does know best?
Then he'll find out. But he should have listened. And he should have stopped.
Quite interesting, I'm sure. But now for the next part. I want us all to look at a story by Nabokov called Spring in Fialta. Listen to me narrate it, and then we can explore how Nabokov creates such fine emotions in the hearts of his readers.
Zinfandel blush, that right, Sarah?
Yeah. Are you on the G&T?
Yeah, I get sick of wine.
I'm sorry I didn't want to go to the Bembo. It's too far, and I'm up early tomorrow for the flower delivery.
No problem. I get sick of my own pub. Anyway, Eamon here's a bit of eye candy.
He's a bit too blokey for me. You know, muscles and attitude and all of that.
Anyway, you're a happily married woman.
Am I?
Don't know, are you?
Well, anyway, what did you think of our first creative writing class?
My God, Alister Brown is a pain. I mean, he really doesn't seem to know how much of an arse he is.
He's a bit up himself, I guess. I don't know. At least he's different.
He is that, all right.
By the way, were you really into horror?
Not that much. I was just saying it to wind him up. When I was looking through the adult education catalogue, it was either creative writing or computing for the terrified, or worse still, beginner's French. So I plumped for Alister. I thought he'd be all Madame Bovary and flipping James Joyce, so I thought I'd be contrary and try and shock him. But he didn't care. I don't think he notices anything beyond his fancy waistcoat and his fancy pocket watch. Did you see that? I mean, he dresses like he stepped out of 1890.
Yeah, I quite like that, though.
You what? Oh my God, you must be joking me.
No, it's just different. I mean, Richard is straight out of a 1960s Rotary Club meeting.
Is Richard in the Rotary Club?
Nudbury Rotary, yes. And he's in the Masons.
I figured that. Secret handshakes and helping out the mates. They do a lot of good charity work, though.
Yeah, I know, but that's not why he does it. He does it because he thinks it will help him get on in the world. He never does anything that won't help his business. That was why he wanted to be a councillor. Thank God he didn't get elected. It'd be even worse. Just imagine if he was mayor and I had to go round with him.
But I mean, fair play to Richard. He built Fourway's garage up from nothing. His dad had driven it into the ground.
Well, his dad was a drinker. His poor mum, God rest her, she was a saint putting up with his dad.
You know I hated you at school.
I know, and I thought you were a slag.
You were stuck up.
You know when someone wrote Susan Devant is a slag on the bus shelter?
Yeah?
That was me.
You cow, I thought it was Leslie Goodfellow. I battered her for it too.
No, it was me. Anyway, I think you're all right now.
Thanks, I think. Another drink?
Why not? Another large Zinfandel.
Hey, what about Paul Smith, eh?
Oh, Richard doesn't like him. He wants to sack him, says he's weird. All that ham radio nonsense.
He is weird. What about his story? That was cracked.
I wasn't really listening. There's no point listening to men. They just insist on telling you stuff that you obviously aren't interested in, but expect you to nod and smile and encourage them.
It was a story about the Shinners.
Oh, I saw a Shinner once when I was a little girl. It was near Highbury Farm, where the road bridge is now. It was a big black pig, a lot bigger than a real pig, about the size of a pony, and it had these eyes that knew you. I swear it said my name. My nana made me carry round a rowan branch for a week when I told her, and she put a piece of iron under my pillow. Maddie?
You never saw it again?
Not yet.
Anyway, they say the Rabbit Man is the worst.
If you believe in them. Anyway, one more drink, then I'll have had enough to face Richard and hear about the monthly sales figures.
That was Ashridge, Episode 5, Words and Powers, written by Tony Walker, sound design by Jasper LeStrange, music by Jonathan Sharp of the Heartwood Institute. Steve Nichols was played by George Hall, Dr. Emily Collins was played by Vicki Jo Eva, Andy Harrington by Ed Jenkins, Alister Brown by Jasper LeStrange, Susan Devant by Jenny Lane, Sarah Wright by Maddie Bayliss, and Paul Smith by Andy Roberts. More Ashridge soon. I wonder what Alister Brown is intending to do with those occult books he's ordered. And what's going on in Sarah Wright and Richard Wright's relationship? And will Andy and Mel and Steve and Emily get together at one of Henry Decker's curry nights at the Apple Tree on one of those fancy Californian style date nights? Find out soon on Ashridge, and remember to tell your friends so that we can keep on producing episodes.